Assalamu alaikum, dear middle school students. This is Imam Sohaib, and
Arshe.
we so wish that we could be with you in person at Princeton University, hanging out and doing this session live. But because of all that's happening in the world right now, we have to meet via cyberspace. So I hope that you can hear us and watch this for just a few minutes, and that we'll have some time to discuss later on today. So we thought that because there's this global pandemic out there called the coronavirus, if you may have heard about it, it's an important moment for us as Muslims to be thinking about how we as Muslims and how our religion contributes to the topic of Islam and medicine. Because this is the time when everyone is thinking about a major global health crisis, and people are thinking about how to solve this issue, and people are thinking about the cures, and this is a moment where Muslims have a lot to offer, I think. We have a lot to offer because our religion is not only concerned with the soul, it's not only concerned with spirituality, it's not only concerned with salvation, meaning our success in the afterlife, but it's also very much concerned about the physical and the mental and the emotional well being of the human being. And so, one of the great examples of this is that in our religion, we have this beautiful tradition that comes from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, called Tib an-Nabi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tib an-Nabi literally means prophetic medicine. And there's entire books that have been written throughout Muslim history about Tib an-Nabi, the Prophet's medicine, because in so many of his teachings and in so many of his examples and in so many of his sayings, he taught his followers the principles of what are known to be the most important elements of good health, right? And so I want to give you an example. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught us that we should wash our hands every single time that we sit down for a meal, and we should wash our hands every single time after a meal, that we should wash our hands after we use the restroom, that we should be people of cleanliness, so that he said that cleanliness is half of faith. And we know that when we observe the 5 daily prayers, we're making an entire washing of our hands and our mouth and our face and our limbs, right? So if you just think about cleanliness and how much cleanliness is at the heart of good health, at the heart of removing bacteria and protecting yourselves from viruses, right? So during this whole global pandemic, people keep saying, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And that's part of the Prophet, peace be upon him's advice, right? Another great example of this is that the Prophet, peace be upon him, told us how to have really good diet. So that, for example, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that, the son of Adam, meaning the children of Adam, meaning every single human being, should not fill their belly more than with 1/3 of food and 1/3 of water and 1/3 for easy breathing. And the Prophet said, in fact, the human being needs much less than this to survive. But if you must, then 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And we know nowadays that good trying to keep off the weight, that these things help with diabetes, with blood pressure, and with so many illnesses. And so if you just think about how the Prophet gave us all these good pieces of advice about how to live a good holistic life, he also taught us about certain foods and certain elements from the earth that really help. So for example, he loved honey, and he told his companions to eat plenty of honey. And we know nowadays the scientific benefits of honey, that it's so good for the digestive system, and it's so good for the flow of one's blood in their body. And there's so many other earthly elements that the Prophet talked about, such as honey. This is just a very, very short, very, very brief introduction to Tib an-Nabi, which is prophetic medicine. And it's to encourage you to do some more research. Now you can look up things on Google, and I'll send you some links as well about the prophetic medicine. And it's to kind of get into it and to learn about what our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us about how to take care of our bodies. And inshallah, if we do that, then then we should rest assured that we can not only have good souls but good physical bodies. One of the things that I want to leave you with is this tradition of the Prophet, where he said that God has created a cure for every illness and every disease out there. which is such an encouragement for the Muslims to go out into the world and to find cures. And this is why throughout the history of Islam, Muslims have put in a great amount of effort in finding cures because of this prophetic encouragement that there is no illness or no disease out there that God would have left the human being without a cure. So it's just about doing research, and it's about advancing in science and in chemistry and in pharmacy to try to figure these things out. So Arshe is going to say a little bit more about optometry, and then I'll say a little bit more about something else.
Sure. Thanks, Sohaib. So I just wanted to say a few words, just wanted to convey this idea that whenever Muslim civilizations went into a society, they would try to incorporate whatever they saw and improve upon it. And one of those ideas was the idea of a hospital that Sohaib was mentioning. And, you can read more about that. Just the idea of that a hospital was not just a space for the sick, but incorporated teachers and researchers and had lodgings and pharmacies and other spaces to sort of get better, and those things we're talking about the medieval times here, and so I just wanted to mention that, and also just the idea that there were so many great scientists and researchers who were Muslim, and sometimes we forget that in what we're taught or what we read about, and sort of so it's important to sort of dig up some of these lost histories, I would say, and some of the names that come into mind is this scientist by the name of Ibn Sina, who in the Western world is known as Avicenna. So Ibn is Ibn Sina, and then Avicenna is Avicenna. And he wrote this 5-volume massive work called The Law of Medicine, Al-Qanun fi al-Tib. And it was this 1 million word encyclopedia that incorporated so many lessons. And these lessons, not only did the folks of that civilization take in, but others who came later and they improved upon them. I was, when I have this book recommendation called The 1001 Inventions and Awesome Facts from Muslim Civilizations. And I'll put it right up here. It's a book that was published by National Geographic, and it's something that I think I'd really recommend you to, look into and maybe buy for your home and look through. 1001 Inventions and Awesome Facts from Muslim Civilizations. And then I think I just wanted to sort of, we're going to in your email, or you should have a link to this short documentary that we would like you to sort of watch. It kind of gives you an overview of Islamic medieval civilization. And we want you to ponder 3 questions. And so, bring out your paper and pens and just sort of quickly write them down. So the first question is what did you find most interesting about Al-Razi's contribution to science? Number 2, what did the documentary say about Al-Razi's contribution to spirituality and morality in medicine? And number 3, in what ways do you want to contribute to society? So as I mentioned, how do you see yourself giving back and thinking about, what your contribution may be in any field that you're interested in? What passion are you going to bring for others? And I think this is a really good time to reflect on these things. So think about these 3 questions. If you missed it, scroll back and quickly jot down the idea of the question, and please watch the video, and then we will join you later this morning at 11:30 a.m. and we could do like a live. We would love to hear from you and sort of engage in this virtual sphere.
It's going to be a live Zoom that you'll have a link to in your email. And so Arshe mentioned that in this documentary, there's this person by the name of Abu Bakr al-Razi. And so Abu Bakr al-Razi is this great scientist from the medieval period. He's known to be the greatest physician of the Middle Ages. And he wrote a book called Kitab al-Hawi, which is like the most voluminous book on medicine that you'll find. And what he does is that he that he researches medicine from many different parts of the world, and then he offers commentary on it. So what's really interesting about Abu Bakr al-Razi is that once Princeton University reopens and you go to the campus and you go to the beautiful large chapel that a lot of you have been to, and at the entrance, if you turn to the right, you'll see this window in which there is a dedication to Abu Bakr al-Razi for his contributions to medicine and science. And he was a polymath, so he was also a philosopher and a great thinker. So you'll hear more about him in the video. One of the cool things about him is that he was the first person who wrote a manual on how to contain infectious diseases. So right now, again, we're living through this global pandemic, and we have people like al-Razi in our history to thank for putting us on a good course for how to deal with these issues. And now it's our turn to pick up the blocks and do our own contributions for our own time.
Very cool. Okay.
So look forward to seeing you at 11:30.
Sounds good. Listen to the video, write down some of your thoughts about the questions we asked. Okay. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.